was entitled Imaginary Scenarios for a reason, because it always goes like this. Hypothetically speaking, let's say you have a sole source of income that you've had for years that you've been dependent on, right? And all of a sudden now there's a threat that it will be taken away. So now what happens is, instead of realizing that that sole source of income is completely and directly connected to a state of dependency, which is unhealthy, which is low vibrational, you, by the very nature of your mind, will fail to recognize the universe is trying to get rid of that toxic, detrimental element in order to bring something healthy and high vibrational into your life, because now you're going to go into panic mode. Now you're going to come up with these imaginary scenarios like, oh my God, the end of the world, I won't be able to make it, I'm going to starve and be homeless. So the mind's triggering itself to go into default setting, and it's going to project that out, and you're going to receive it, and that's exactly what your vibrational environment will become. So you have to understand how easy it is for the mind to just go into default mechanism and just slip out and go nuts. That's why they say people lose their mind. You don't lose your mind. How could you lose something you never had? It's just that simple. So you've got to recognize the fact that you have to catch yourself when these things happen. If the universe is trying to remove something or someone from your life, stop trying to keep them. And if they become removed, stop trying to implant them back in. Because the universe knows better than you. And also the universe knows something that you don't. Not just about these people or these elements, but about yourself. Because this is an addictive element that you've been refusing to let go of, that's holding you back and keeping you stuck in a vibrational environment that is not allowing you to move forward and expand. And the universe doesn't want you to stay pigeonholed. So if there's something or someone in your life that you've been dependent on for years, and the universe is trying to remove that something or someone, let it go, let them go. This way you can open up that space for what new is coming in. Because you can't hold on to two things at one time. You can either all hold on to the present or hold on to the past. Now you have to create space for the new things to come in from what you call a future point. Now that space has to be vacated and emptied in order to allow that new experience and energies to come in and fill that space. Am I wrong? It's the same thing with people who are occupying an apartment. If you have tenants in there, you can't get new tenants in. You have to tell them, the old tenants, you got to go. I have new tenants coming in. Your lease is up. You didn't pay the rent. You got to go. And then they get evicted by the sheriff if they refuse to go. And sometimes energy just doesn't leave. You have to evict it. Sometimes you have to get aggressive and forceful with these things, because your patterns and habits have been so thoroughly ingrained in your subconscious, it becomes an intrinsic part of what you are as a character. You operate in a way that this is me. This is all I've known. So it becomes you. It doesn't just go away. So you have to recognize that. So if something that you've had for such a long time, like a sole source of income, and that you've been dependent on that one thing, now here it is that they threaten to be taken away, you're going to just go into absolute shutdown mode. So what you're doing is two things. You're tethering your feelings and emotions to that negativity, which blocks any reception of high vibrational experiences. And number two, you're not allowing that space to be freed up. Now you're cluttering it with not only the old bad energy, but new bad energy. All these imaginary scenarios, all these worst case scenarios, worst case situations, catastrophe, just cataclysmic conclusions, horrific endings, and nothing's going to work in my favor. It's not going to go good, and that's what you're projecting. It's just that simple. I mean, it really boils down to this, folks. You do it to yourself, and you don't even realize it, because you've been trained to do this to yourself by this system. Because don't forget, these are sorcerers and witches and wizards and warlocks and demons. But even more so, they are alchemists as well. And they are metaphysically attuned to the cosmos in such a way that they know exactly how human beings will behave. Because your patterns of behavior are predictable, because you follow patterns. And patterns are like cookie cutters. If you have a cookie cutter in the shape of a Christmas tree, you can't expect to get a circle if you press it into the dough, because it's always going to give you the same. That's predictable patterns. And that's how they control you, because they know what you're going to do. And they know how you're going to react and respond and behave in certain situations. That's why they make this system fear, paranoia, chaos. The world is coming to an end. You can never settle. You can never be at peace in an atmosphere of chaos and uncertainty and doubt and fear and trepidation. And oh my God, the end of the world is coming. How many times have they pulled that? Doomsday, Armageddon, apocalypse, end of days, the end of the world, They made a ton of movies on it. I remember back like 10, 15 years ago, somebody put a billboard up, the end of the world is coming. Everybody lost their freaking mind. But again, you can't lose something that you never had. It's just that simple. Stop doing it to yourself and it won't get done.